Hello guys and welcome to another video from Couch Coop. We are kind of still in the Halloween season. These games are featured on the Halloween discount on the PSN store, especially this one, GROOD, right? GROOD, it's like £2, £3, it's brand new and it's got a lot of surprises. First up, it came out in September of this year. It's very new. It's a two-player side-scrolling shoot 'em up, and it's also got a slowdown mechanic that I'll show in a minute, but it's quite cel-shady. It's got some very loud thrash metal music in the background. It kind of does and doesn't work. The game is almost an R-Type clone if you like. It's welcome though, it's new, and it's couch co-op. It's also got a slowdown mechanic that it's activated by one of the players. It doesn't have a toggle on, toggle off, so it goes on for quite a while. It's a little bit awkward sometimes because it doesn't stop. But I didn't have a boss on the end of the first level. This game isn't full price by any stretch. I think it's either a 70% discount or less than £5, something like that. It's couch co-op, it's fast paced, it's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up. There's a lot to like there. When you go to select the difficulty, it says hard, hard and hard, and also I was thinking about retro side-scrolling shoot 'em ups, classic ones like Sidearms, and I was thinking on the store some of the best top-down shoot 'em ups two-player are probably on that Neo Geo retro stuff. So if you're into this genre, definitely have a look at those because they're very cheap and the majority of the good ones are two-player. They always used to be two-player. And of course, I think Johnstown, is it Johnstown? Yeah, Johnstown Plus or something like that was the last decent side-scrolling shoot 'em up that was 4-player actually, 3 and 4-player. This is strictly 2, so that's going against it a little bit. There isn't as many varied weapon types as I'd like to see early in the game. There's a shotgun that you get unlocked that's actually got a manual fire. You can't keep your finger on fire, that becomes quite awkward. You have to switch that out with another button. So yeah, I like the difficulty curve. This is definitely one for the fans of the genre. GROOD. So next up we've got Castlestorm 2. Now this is really interesting because I recently reviewed Castlestorm 1. It was an older game by a long stretch. I think it was like 2017 and it had this PlayStation 3 sort of remake look about it. Castlestorm 2 was like a big surprise and again really new, came out in September. And if you remember that video, you remember I was head over heels with its PvP elements, especially its couch co-op versus mode. And I'm afraid guys, we've got some bad news here. I can't find it for shit. I think they took it out. I hope to God they didn't take it out, but I spent the best part of an hour trying to unlock or dig and find out a versus mode. Couldn't find one. I'll show you what we do have. It's a co-op mode, not too dissimilar to the co-op mode that was in the original game. But damn hell isn't it confusing at the start, because you just thought that, I always thought that the ballista, which only one person has control of now, would be switched out between two players. So the bottom screen just gets to feed out men and control them though individually. So if you don't know about this game, this is kind of like Angry Birds meets a tower defense game, because you're aiming this funny ballista and also sending waves of troops out to the opponent's castle. But the original game had all these resource management elements with smashing a piece of the castle up that was used to train particular soldiers that they would send out to you. There was so much wealth of content there. This one's really been stripped down. It looks a lot better, but woof, I'm not over the moon about the lack of that versus mode. So you're in a position where one player is controlling that ballista permanently and the other player is controlling the feed of the troops that come in. The only depth in that is that you can send in healer troops and different layers of attack patterns, and you can actually take control of individual troops. You just move the cursor over them and you've got their whole moveset, including jumps and arrows and God knows what. It wasn't something that I fell off my chair about with its depth, and I was so taken aback by the PvP because it was the first thing we went to. We were like, oh, we remember this, having a cool castle v castle mode, and so we got involved in the co-op campaign quite in depth to try and see if we could unlock it, and it just wasn't there. think that may have drastically affected its score on this particular list. If this was as good looking as it is with the versus mode on it, it would have bowled in at near 1 or number 2 at least. I did see some fun playing as this large cave troll boulder throwing guy. We were both playing co-op against a singular enemy castle, and we did see some of that destruction there. We did get to see some of the rooms falling apart and things getting smashed to pieces, but there just wasn't the satisfaction there at all that I saw in the original. So that would be my advice here, is go dig that up. This is about $22, so 15 quid on the PlayStation Store. It's not a small purchase, but I imagine if you keep your eyes peeled for the discounted original, you'd have yourself a good game. What we need to remember that this is brand new, and it's got some great visuals, a lot of violence, some hilarious voice acting. The original had some incredible voice acting, some really cool animations on all the animals, and your move sets and the stuff you pull off when you do get to control some of the characters is very good. I'm just gutted about, as you know, not being able to smash the other opponent or the other players sitting next to you's castle up. It was very good fun. In actual fact, I'll put the link to that video in the description for you. The single player is also a little bit strange. It's made a sort of flip to a tile-based turn civilization thing going on. It's more beefed out. It's an actual map that's looking very different. So Castlestorm 2 has obviously gone through what I'm going to dub as Call of Duty syndrome. But if you love the co-op stuff, go for it. Assault Android Cactus is a gem pointed out to me by a listener, thank you very much, and it's a beautiful twin stick, slightly older one, and it also shows actually, you can tell that this has again got sort of PlayStation 3 stuff going on with the UIs and some of the character designs, but I love its ideas, its feel, its pace, its cool mini-map, selection of different characters. You can see they all had different weapon types with shotguns and assaults and beam rifles, etc. Look at the little light shining up from below these icons on the mini-map. I know. But it really did teach me a lesson in how crazy a Robotron clone game should really get off the bat straight away. This game does not bugger about at all. Anyone recognise their names on that international leaderboard? Relentless bullet hell. There's no rest. There is a little bit of downtime. What you're doing is trying to keep the battery cells up. These are dropped as green icons. You do die, you can come back, but it's more of a hindrance. It just means that if this green bar runs out, everything's over. Look at the power-ups that drop. You get speed, you get all manner of madness in this game. I love it to bits. It's absolutely crazy. Can't believe I didn't discover it earlier. Been a long time since I've played a decent twin stick like this. It brought it all back. It was so great to see everything happening all at once. No frame rate problems, no issues with anything. This engine is beautiful. It just looks amazing. This game should have more of a fan base, but it probably has. We had a couple of boss fights on the little selections of map that we entered into, and they were huge. They were like levels in themselves with multi-layered attack patterns, and it was flinging out all these additional enemies, and everything was just crazy. There's never a minute in this game where it lets you take a breath other than the start of the level. That's absolutely brilliant. And prioritizing different enemies and flipping out your specials and going for those power-ups all comes together. You kind of just get with the pace after a while. It's crazy. Round about mid-level cost for an older indie game. I think we're looking at £12 and maybe about $15. I haven't seen this on the Switch. I've never seen this on any other platform. It might exist on Steam, and I certainly have never seen it physical. So thank you very much for pointing it out, and I'm going to try and finish. I actually am going to try and finish this game. I don't know how I'm going to manage it. I may have an epileptic fit, but bring it. Wow, some of that music, some of those animations, I think this is done by some of the team from Crawl. It might even be the same developer studio, so apologies everybody if this is your game, but wow. Yes, it's a couch co-op roguelike that's completely orientated around mutating and crawling around some sewers and killing stuff as some giant chickens and flies. This is some weird stuff, and please excuse its visuals, but this is so much more fun than it looks. For some reason, its craziness just seems to work, and the music and being in a trapped little room, there's loads of Binding of Isaac vibes with it. It's deep, and by the way, this again is massively discounted on the store in the Halloween section. Please check it out. You're obviously collecting the slime that the enemies drop to get health and donation to your mutation. Once it reaches the top of the meter, you flip into a randomized creature. I've only got 4 access at the moment. It looks like it's about 7 to 8 on the roster. You can only see their silhouettes, but it's completely random to what you turn into. This guy lays an egg that sends a little worm to the enemies, and the fly's got range obviously, but it can also mimic death and then come back again. They have their own specials on the hotkeys, and it's weird to see what you're going to turn into. And it's weird to see what sort of terminals and hidden secrets are lying everywhere. There's keys, you see the map at the top of the screen. Everyone knows the deal with this sort of roguelike. It's right up my street, as you all know, but again, the discount and how cool this game looks, it's just a perfect little Halloween treat. I'm not sure how long you could put up with the music though at that volume. I was thinking about having it off. It was a cool idea to have it at the beginning and having it smash through, but sometimes you'll be backtracking through the map and it will be pounding at you, pounding, and you'll have nothing to do but listen to it because you're going through a load of empty rooms. But hey, that comes with the territory. It's got a cool skill tree. We all know this sort of stuff from any roguelike, Dead Cells, all that wicked pluses when you start a new game. There's a lot of layered, accumulated perks with this game, and I love the idea of mutating into something random and unlocking new mutant stuff. It's called Freaky Awesome, and the boss fights, again, like Binding of Isaac, are randomized and weird looking and frightening and traumatic, and there is a cool revive as well and little hotkey pickup specials. Well worth a look, this game. Okay, so this is the next discounted Halloween game, and man, this is £3. I am not joking. I am in love with it. I love everything about this game. The last time I felt this passionately about the art style of a game or the play style of a game was Unfolded and Little Big Planet. Yeah, that's how adorable and how much attention has gone into this. That's the level of love for the visuals, sound, production, and everything about this game is absolutely brilliant. I'm just getting my head around how funny the loot system is. That's not even touching the characters and the story and the people that you play and some of the mad-ass dialogue that's going on in this world. It is one crazy-ass chicken, this. You're using attack buttons like you would in Streets of Rage or any other side-scrolling beat-em-up, but you have got that quite big parallel depth of field, and you've got loads of build and special moves and a run button, so you can do moves during a run like in Golden Axe or something. But the game really wants you to pick things up. You pick things up on circle and throw them around, including bombs, your own characters, and the enemies as well. So you're always looking out to do something hilarious to the enemy. And it also has mad side quests just in this map. Look how well the light works here and the trees. It's a fantastic looking and sounding game. We're looking at up to 4-player couch co-op, and whenever a fight kicks off, it always pans out, and the multi-level combat that was going on there is so awesome, with each person getting on with their own shit in their own section of the screen, and sometimes you intertwangle and sometimes you don't. And it's also got a real classic map screen that's got side quests that tell you what you have and haven't done within that map itself. So there's loads of replayability, loads. And look at all the cool Nordic artwork and styles here.
I think we're getting close.
With the side quests come awesome bosses, story-driven bosses, dialogue-heavy bosses that are shouting crazy stuff at you. I'm using some awesome weaponry that I've managed to unlock on a previous side quest, and I've got a rune in, which gives me just a little bit of plus health. So there is RPG nods everywhere. But just listening to this game and watching this game and playing it is a complete joy. It should be number one on the list. It's a surprise number one on the list, actually. But this one, Zombie Vikings, real solid place in my heart. Not only does the combat come with a guard, it also comes with a roll, and it also comes with a parry that can deliver back damage to the enemy, right? Depending on how snappy you are with it. If you just do a really blatant delayed one, then it won't give them much. But if you snap it at the last minute, it will almost knock them back, Dark Souls style.
I don't understand it. I drained half her blood, injected her with monkey juice.
Having 4 players get involved in this is going to be an absolute joy. I can say hand on heart that 2 players is one of the best side-scrolling platform hack and slashes that I've played this year. It's up there with River City, it's up there with Streets of Rage, can you believe it? And it's out on the store for like £2.50 or something. I guarantee no one's seen this. I certainly hadn't seen it before, and it's a complete labour of love from top to toe. The ultimate surprise for me was when we killed a boss and then the quest giver said, right, come here, here's the weapon, you two have now got to go toe to toe, and the winner gets the weapon. And I was thinking this is going to be really easy, but we got well into our combat in this game, and it was ruthless but brilliant. Unrailed is this week's number one from Steam and everything else, put onto the PlayStation a little bit earlier this year. Again, a shadow release, not going to go on about them, but it's very popular on Twitch. Everybody loves to stream it. It is a very awesome couch co-op game and a cool single player game as well. How does it all work? Well, it's a procedurally generated world that you're helping a train travel through by laying down tracks and gathering major elements that make the tracks and putting them into a section of the train that then produces more tracks out the back of it. You sort of feed it, but it's great working out the route, traversing the water and communicating with each other. I'm also playing as Indiana Jones. It's not the most action-packed game in my repertoire, but I sure as hell really enjoy it. I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about here. A relaxed, cool co-op experience, but still with these tiny little tweaks that make it into an exciting game. The train often catches a light, which requires a bucket of water that you have to drag around constantly and have access to water to be able to refill, otherwise you are screwed, it's game over. So you could sort of build yourself into a big problem there. And you do have day and night cycles, and you do need to negate either side of the train as well. It might turn a corner and you realise that you've just built a wall in the way of your axe and you can never chop another tree down, game over. And there's these strange men in black that are walking around that pick up like your stuff that you harvest and move it around, throw it over the edge of stuff. There's quite a lot going on here. There's a little dash button that you have in Overcooked that allows you just to get somewhere really quickly, and you don't have to hammer any buttons when harvesting materials. You just stand near something, and you can also stack up stuff really high. You can only carry 3 of things, but you can harvest them all, put them all into a big pile and really start getting efficient and communicating. This in 4 player again, especially when there's a fire on the train or it's about to go into some water. A lot of fun is to be had. It's also back to the classic couch co-op mantra, is that games that don't require mastermind gamers to get involved are always the best couch co-op experiences, and I find that really true here. It's not rocket science, it's very easily understood, and it's very family friendly, with no blood. There's a few cows getting thrown over cliffs, but nothing major. I'm showing you some of the upgrades on the crafting and getting more carriages and lights and all kinds of efficient crafting materials that enable the train to perform better or not catch on fire as much, that sort of thing. Having it on a rolling sort of procedurally generated section also means that you can't see what's coming up, so you may have to make split-second decisions on a route at the last minute. That was really interesting, and of course building yourself into a corner is also an added extra that you'd never account for until the worst time. Actually speeded some of the footage up just to show you how much is going on and how much scuttling around you're doing and how much weird stuff's flying over your head in the environments. And notice that in that water there's a yellow thing which is a bolt which I need at the end of the level to make sure that I get a power up. So I built over to that. I didn't need to take the train that way, so we sent it through the rocks. A lot is going on, and there's a lot of communication and forward planning on the fly. It's a really great formula. This game is going to get really popular, I think. I hope to see a lot more of it as well, because it's a really good, family-friendly couch co-op game. And as always, you did!